Today I'm going to be roasting a Guatemalan Geisha, and I'm going to crush this profile because I just figured out something amazing. I'm going to share it with you right now. The reason I haven't made a video in quite a long time is because I've been struggling. I created a whole entire methodology around roasting, and I'm sticking with it, and I'm crushing it, and I'm feeling like all my my roasting curves are looking phenomenal. My ROR is dropping in. And then I started doing some research about certain RORs and turning points and dry end, and I'm realizing that my coffee's coming in real slow, meaning my turning point was at 143, 140, 135 if I was really hammering the heat, and my dry end was coming in super late, like 5-6 minutes in, 7.5 minutes in sometimes, and like at 350 degrees I was hitting dry end. Too slow. I have not posted in like 6 weeks. I went on a journey over these last 4 to 6 weeks really trying to figure it out, and I did not want to make a video because I was not doing well. I mean, the coffee still tastes good, but I didn't feel like I had it, and I didn't feel like I really was able to do it. So now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share with you guys what I learned, and I'm going to show you in real time what I was doing with my Artisan. I'm going to cut back and forth. Boom, I'm recording. So what we're going to do today is we're going to roast a Guatemalan Geisha. Here are my settings. Now, prior to this, when I was showing you guys, my settings were usually at a 30 or 40 air. My air is now going to be at 50. My gas, I was hitting right out of the gate at a 4 kPa. And now I'm actually going to start at a 6.5. Now my gauge doesn't even go up to 6.5. My gauge goes up to 6. So I'm basically guesstimating beyond that because I'm hitting hard with heat, I'm hitting hard with the air, and I've increased my drum speed from 65 to now 75. I'm actually speeding it up. Okay, so the whole entire philosophy here, I actually learned this from a guy named Rob House, or Hose, or Hoos. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his name. I just was able to replicate on a Peru, and now I'm going to do with a Guatemalan Geisha. So I've been have my roaster preheated. I'm at like 435 now. I'm going to turn on my Artisan. Right now I'm recording my Artisan. And I'm going to show you everything that I'm doing as I do it. I'm going to crank up my KPAs up now to 6.5. You're going to hear my roaster turn off. I've got 3.6 grams. I'm roasting on a just turned off for a second. I'm roasting on a 2 kilogram roaster. I'm using 3.6 of beans in terms of poundage, which is roughly around 80% of capacity on my bean. So, or in my roaster. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, oh, I already hit start. I'm going to cut my heat. This is going to drop down to 400 degrees. My drop temp is going to be 400 degrees. I'm keeping my glasses close by because I'm going to need them. Hey guys, I'm going to throw this little piece in the middle of all of this. I'm recording this at the end of my roast, and I want to make sure that I tell you this early on. So this roaster that I'm using is a Yoshan Roaster. It's a 2 kilogram Yoshan Roaster. I got it. I ordered it directly from China, from the Yoshan company in China. I was looking at getting a Mill City Roaster, a Diedrich Roaster, a Provet Roaster, a Loring Roaster. I couldn't afford it. So if you're like me and you're looking for a roaster that's way more affordable, I was able to get into this and the table and delivery and everything for under $5,000, which is a sick deal if you're really looking at buying a roaster. But I'm able to, because I've created a relationship with the Yoshan brand, I'm able to get a discount for you guys if you'd like. So reach out to me either in the comments. You can reach out to me at rob@ocdcoffeeclub.com. I can get you a discount on the roaster. I can get you an extended year warranty that's valued up to $300. And I can get you most likely a free coffee grinder, some kind of commercial grinder, or another free gift of some sort, because Yoshan loves these videos and they want to help support me, and by doing so, they're offering you guys discounts. So that's it. I'm at 420. I'm gonna soak, so I'm not gonna hit the heat right out of the gate. I'm gonna hit my timer, turn it on at 400 degrees. Now I have not done this. Hit my charge. Oh, it charged. Oh, it actually pre-charged for me, but that's okay. I can adjust it. If you're not sure how to do a pre-charge, what you can do is you can adjust it by just hitting right-clicking on it and then clicking what you want. Okay, so this is going to have a different turnaround. This is everything. So the background that you're seeing right now is not. This is a Peru. This is not a geisha. But we're gonna approach it like the geisha because they're both Central America, South American beans. At 1 minute, I'm gonna kick the heat on, which is right now. I'm going to record that. I'm at 6.5 kPa. Prior to that, I was at 0. I forgot to type in that I'm at 50 with my air. And I dropped down from 400 to 299. That's a 200-degree drop, which is pretty good. At a 102 turnaround, or turning point, which is really good. I'm going to keep an eye on my heat, and my goal is to get my ROR to 45-ish, maybe a little more. I'm not sure how the Guatemalan's going to... I'm telling you guys right now, I haven't done this one. This is the first time doing the Guatemala, so I'm being pretty vulnerable. I'm being pretty vulnerable here because this could go totally south. But we'll see how this goes. So I'm hoping that I get up around 45. This is a fairly expensive bean. I bought this bean a little ways back. I'm at 43 ROR right now. I'm hovering in the low 40s. Sounds like I've got a bean in my... it's looking good. The ROR is looking good. It sounds like I've got a bean hovering in my air duct. It's not a big deal. It might mean that my drum is a little too fast for this bean. It's not a big deal, but just something to pay attention to. If it flies into my chaff tray, then it's too. Then my roaster, my drum is too fast. Okay, so I'm coming in here. My goal is to basically hit dry end around 315, somewhere in there. So we'll see, but it's looking good. The air is looking good. It's not as high. The air temp is not as high as it was when I roasted the Peru. But if you know the ROR, it looks like it's dropping nicely. And my it doesn't look like I have to make any major adjustments as of yet. Everything looks beautifully green here. Actually, I'll record this too so you guys can see this. I'll record it with my phone. See the green, right? I'm not sure exactly when my first adjustment will have to be. I'm going to make a judgment call on that, but this is looking pretty good. If you want to see my setup, I just got my computer set up here, and I'm connected to a USB using the using Artisan. Okay. Yeah, my ROR is still dropping nicely. I'm at 300 degrees right now, so I'm going to keep an eye for dry ends. I'm still a little bit green. Let's pop that in there so you can see. Here's the second one. I'm still a little bit green here. But it is starting to turn just a little bit. And I'm looking for yellow. So I'm going to stay here, keep an eye, keep the heat on. And it's hard to tell, but I'm right there now. I'm right around yellow. So let me see. Yeah, I'm just shy. I'm almost there. 320, but I'm cooking along here. I'm moving fast. I'm going to call dry end right there. Okay. And actually, I'm going to make a slight adjustment. I'm going to go from a 6.5 down to a 6. So I'm not going to make a major drop, but I'm just going to drop it just a little bit to ease off the heat here, just a little bit. Only because once it hits dry end, I want to stretch out this Maillard. I want to stretch out this browning phase, right? So the longer I can stretch that out, basically, and this is a lot of the stuff that I was researching with Rob from Rob, who's I'm gonna say it different every time, but Rob Hose, his philosophy was stretch out the Maillard phase as long as you can, right? Or not as long as you can, but you know that's part of your process, is stretch it out and see how the beans respond. Okay, so I'm gonna drop now from a 6 to like a 5, right? And see how that rides. I'm paying attention to what happened with the Peru, but I'm not following it as my guidepost. I mean, I'm following it as a guidepost, but not necessarily my exact roadmap. Okay, so I'm kind of leveling off. If you'll notice, my ROR is somewhat leveling off. I'm around 25, 26. Oh, there it is. It's dropping a little bit. It's adjusting. You can see the air right here you can see the air. You see how it's coming down? This right here, this uptick in air, is a good indicator of what's happening with your ROR. So it gives you kind of a preview of where your ROR is going to go. So now my air is leveling off, so I'm going to drop my gas down to a 4, and I'm already starting to hear a little bit of first crack, which is, it's not necessarily kicking in fully, but if it is, I want to drop down to a 3.5 or 3.4, 3.2 there. Okay. All right, and I'm going to call first crack right there. I'm at 383. That's my temperature, and I'm at 6 minutes and 55 seconds. That's not bad, but it seems like a very small Maillard. That's a very small browning phase. So I'm going to adjust this so this way. There we go. So if you see in the top right here, where it says development, this development is at 6% right now. Again, my ROR is dropping nicely, still dropping nicely. It obviously, if you see the background, 391 was what the Peru's first crack was at 8 minutes, and this Geisha is at 6 minutes and 55. So I probably could have eased off my heat a little bit more. And I would, when I do this a second time, I would basically go from where it dropped at 6, around 4-5 minutes, where I dropped it at 6, I would drop it down to maybe a 4.5, where I dropped to 5, or even like a 4, and slow it down a little bit around the 5-minute mark. All right, I'm at 15%. I'm gonna up my air just a little bit from 50 to 60. Because I'm getting a little bit of a downswing, and I'm going to try to balance that out with a little bit of air, and that'll help my heat. It'll probably bring me up too high. And I'm going to drop my, now I'm at 18%, I'm going to drop it down to a 2, just to kind of balance out my gas. My ROR is around 13, 14, and I'm at 20% development, and that's going to be where I drop. See if I can get this shot for you guys. Get the drop, get the drop. So you might be asking yourself, well, why didn't I record the end of first crack? And the reason is because I don't really have to, because my drop is going to be the end of first crack, right? So what I'm looking for when I'm listening is, am I hearing kind of like that last tinkerings of cracking? And I'm also paying attention to my development phase, which is around 21% when I did finally drop. And that's, I could actually pull quite a bit earlier than that for a geisha like this. This is a nice kind of light medium. Super, as you can see from that shot, super, you know, even in the roast, which is really nice, what I was looking for. But I didn't have to necessarily record first crack. I know that I dropped it right at the end of first crack, or sometime around there. So that's it. Now, I'm going to keep cutting back and forth, guys. Here's why I'm so interested. This, if you notice, I had 50% of my roast was in green. What I would change on this is, if you see in this area where my dry end started at 435, which is actually really good for what I've been doing recently, is at 435. I would try to, once I hit dry end, try to stretch my Maillard from 6 minutes and 51 seconds roughly for first crack start to somewhere in the low 7s to maybe even mid 7s. Even stretch it out even longer, like another 30 seconds, and see what kind of flavors I get out of it. But it's good because I have this one and I can compare this one to the others, to previous roasts. But if you're going off of Scott Rao's philosophy with your ROR, this ROR looks phenomenal. I had a slight little dip and then a bounce back up, as you can see. But that might have been a probe reading that went just awry for a moment, because it came right back to the exact same trajectory. If you were to draw a line through it, it's perfect. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help.